I'm super excited to introduce our first guest, Tammy Saltzman. And Tammy Saltzman is an attorney, and she's going to share a little bit more about what kind of law she practices. And I've known Tammy, I've known you now for how long?
Probably since 2009.
2009. And what I remember about you is your title, the Rainmaker. So I want to ask you a little bit about how you started on a path, first in a law profession, and second, what that means to be a rainmaker.
Okay, so I've always wanted to be a lawyer since I'm a little girl, you know.
Wow,
so,
okay.
You know, what is my destiny? My destiny was either to be a lawyer or the President of the United States of America.
And you can still be the president.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe
Anything
so.
is possible. Any destiny is possible.
I was a late bloomer. I went back to law school later in life when I was 34. I got to fulfill that dream. So I've learned to reinvent myself numerous times. And I came to law thinking I was going to get to practice law, but you're also selling legal services. So I find that no matter what area you practice in, whether you're selling clothes in the garment center, which is where I started, or whether you're selling legal services, we're always selling ourselves. So I practice family law. I help couples create new destinies for themselves. I also do some real estate, residential real estate. So people buying and selling homes are always experiencing new opportunities, closing chapters, opening up new chapters in their lives.
Yeah, going through a transition. So you work with a lot of people that are going through major life change.
Yes, major life change. Divorce is only second to death, you know, as far as trauma goes to your emotional psyche. And moving, especially if you've been in a home for 10, 11, 12 years and all of a sudden now you're downsizing or you're moving to a new city, it could be scary and quite challenging.
Yeah. So what I know about you is that you really make a connection with everyone. And in making that connection with your clients, you're able to offer them peace of mind and a lot of the comfort through that process. Yeah. So can you share a little bit about how you do that? Because I know that's really what makes you very unique, Tammy.
Well, you know, part of what I do in my business is similar to what I do in bringing in business. You had called me, you had said something about rainmaking, and rainmaking is an art. I used to call myself the rainmakerologist, and teaching others how to make it rain. And the most important thing about making people feel connected is caring and listening and having empathy for what they're going through. Coming from divorce, my parents were divorced when I was 9, and getting divorced myself has given me a lot of compassion for the people that I help in my everyday life, in my practice. So when you really care about people, and you come from your heart, they get it, as opposed to they're just another client.
So when someone first comes to you, and you work with both men and women, so when they first come to you, what is that very first step for someone who's actually contemplating or thinking about, you know, a separation or some sort of parting, completion of a marriage?
There's several different ways people can get divorced in the state of Florida. There's a self-help center at the courthouse. Some people use mediators to get divorced, and others hire lawyers. If you're going to hire a lawyer, if you're at that stage, you have to decide the kind of lawyer you want. Do you want a lawyer that's a litigator, that's a bulldog, that's a shark? Then you need to look for that type of lawyer, and you're going to pay a higher rate for a lawyer like that. If you're looking to amicably settle the issues between you, you're going to want to look for an attorney that comes more from their heart, someone who's more reasonably priced, someone who uses collaboration and mediation as part of their practice. So by reading people's websites, you might get some idea of how they practice, but when you meet with them, the key language you want to hear is settlement. How do we compromise, not I can get you everything you want. We'll sue, we'll go to court, we'll get you this. You know, those kinds of conversations are for people who want to litigate and spend a lot of money fighting and a lot of time fighting each other. And I'm not that kind of lawyer. I'm more of the kind of lawyer that wants to collaborate and help you keep your marital assets in your bank account instead of in my bank account.
Well, that's exactly what happens through that litigation process, because it can go on for years.
Yes.
And so what happens is the financial resources end up becoming depleted, or at least going to the legal process itself. So it's never really that one person wins. It's actually both people sort of lose.
That's correct. In the area of divorce, you never know what your destiny is. You can have a great case and have a bad day in court. You can also have a terrible case and a great day in court. There are no guarantees. And so when you can find a lawyer who explains that to you, and if you meet a lawyer who guarantees you an outcome, you really should be very careful. And you want to be with someone who's accessible, someone who's going to return your phone calls, calm you down when you're upset. That's also very important. I always give my cell phone number to my clients.
Okay, you give your cell phone number out?
I do.
That is amazing.
A lot of lawyers think I'm crazy, but you know, that's because I care.
It's like old school, you know, when you were able to call your doctor for the home visit.
That's right.
Or to be able to call your attorney, and because they work as your advocate and you have a question. So you really do make that connection from the heart, because you so openly share access to getting in touch, to answers to questions.
And to help diffuse anger. That's key. Because if a situation occurs, especially where minor children are involved, things can escalate very quickly. And once things escalate, it's hard to go backwards. So if you can nip things in the bud before they get out of control, and you keep reminding people of what is the end game, and do you want your family to be healed, or do you want your family to be angry, it helps people make better choices.
I don't even think I know of another attorney that's had a conversation in this way, that actually uses that language of saying healed. And transformation for the family, and thinking about the whole unit as a family. So how does one get in touch with Tammy Saltzman if they have questions? Maybe they're not ready, or they're thinking about, you know, the process and what those steps are. How would someone get in touch with you?
Well, they can go onto my website, which is tbslawpa.com. They can call my office. My office number is 561-221-0577. And if I'm not there, just ask Sam for my cell phone number and she'll give it to you.
That is amazing. And you're located, your office
in Boca Raton. I am at the Bank of America building, which is one light west on Glades Road from I-95.
And so, could you offer some words of advice for someone that is going through a divorce right now?
Try to compromise as much as possible. Try to find a lawyer that mediates and collaborates as opposed to litigate. Remember that no matter what happens when you have children, you can get divorced, but you're always going to be attached to the parent of those children. And so it's always better to get along for the sake of your kids. They will grow up healthier, and they won't repeat the pattern of disharmony in their life. They'll be able to make better choices when they pick a spouse, if they see that their parents were able to get divorced in an amicable way.
I love that. So, choice, harmony, family.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tammy Saltzman, for sharing such a wealth of information with our viewers today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Okay.